big exciting news as one place finally agrees to give hazard pay. Stop and Shop, the grocery retail, was under fire for stopping hazard pay. The union stepped in and said, why did you stop the hazard pay? Well, because we're a Stop and Shop. You need to start the hazard pay. Stop and Start needs to start. And so Stop and Start, well, we're not going to start. This is Stop and Shop. This is not Start and Shop. But the union's like, well, you need to start the Stop and Shop hazard pay right now. Start it right now. No, we stop. We stop and shop. We don't start and stop. Needless to say, the negotiations went on for a while. They never stopped or started, or they never stopped at Start and Shop. And so the great news today is finally Start and Shop has agreed to start the hazard pay at Stop and Shop. The question is when it's going to start. I don't know. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're starting good and stopping good, and I just love all this. This is hazard pay, always at 4 o'clock or somewhere, starting or stopping shortly thereafter. Afternoons LALATE is that 2-hour programming block here on LALATE. Every day starts at 3:30 with a check, then goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and then rent. Coming up right after this video is enhanced unemployment benefits and unemployment benefits. You've had questions, so tune in for that as well. Finally, rent. If there was a day to subscribe, it's today. We have big developments about your stimulus check, about hazard pay, about what's happening on Monday, and about Purple Power. So as always, go to the front of this channel, subscribe. This is the community you should be subscribed to, the best one out there. We got to add some subscribers. Keep on adding. Tell your friends to subscribe. If you are publicly subscribed, I should be able to see that you're publicly subscribed. If you don't know what publicly subscribed is, go into the pinned comments of this video to make sure that other people see that you're subscribed. Also, like this video. It helps with the algorithm. The algorithm has been really screwing the last 2 days. It's just all over the place. But you really did a great number on Mornings LA liking that video. I think it was 15,000 likes, so let's keep it up. Let's get to the incredible breaking news as we start the afternoon about hazard pay. First, the push for Purple Power continues to be front and center. You're doing an incredible, great job pushing the Problem Solvers bill, which needs to get to a vote, and needs to get to a vote by that inherent deadline of October 1st. The October 1st deadline is a deadline that has now been placed upon everything because of the nature of the airlines jumping into the discussion. The airlines' part of the equation is that airlines need to have the stimulus done by that date, or the entire industry will collapse, ostensibly. Massive bankruptcies, massive layoffs, ancillary businesses that are dependent upon the airline industries to support the airline industries will lay off people. The layoffs could be in the tens to hundreds of thousands of employees across the country, across airline and subsequent businesses. So the push to get this done very quickly is certainly underway. 30th would be the day in which the House of Representatives would approve the bill. 29th is the day in which the Senate would approve the bill. So this still can get done. The 1st would be the day the president signed it into law. The Problem Solvers bill does not have hazard pay in it. That is one of the key issues of the bill. When you look at the bill, it doesn't have hazard pay in it because when the Problem Solvers went to meet with Nancy Pelosi to discuss the problem. The person is the problem. The problem didn't open the door. The problem kept the door closed. So they said, well, we have a problem and we're not solving the problem because the problem didn't open the door. So ultimately, hazard pay didn't get in the bill, and now we're pushing to put it in the bill. It needs to be in the bill. On Monday, you're going to see the bill being introduced by the problem at $2.4 trillion. Will there be hazard pay in there? I got to tell you, if she takes hazard pay out of there, I mean, it's going to be civil war at this point. She has gutted things left and right for things that make no sense and added stuff that makes no sense either. So the question whether she's going to be putting hazard pay in there is just unclear. What's also unclear is the status between her and Steve Mnuchin, which I don't want to get off mixed message, but I want to make this very clear. Ultimately, I have always reported since June that the deal that will get done is a stimulus package, a second stimulus package at about 1.5 to 2. I've always reported that the president will go to 2. It's been widely understood since about late May that this president would go to 2. 2.0 trillion is what the CARES Act 1 bill was. Now, understand that the Senate has to approve this, and the Senate may not approve 2. We have all those comments by, Chuck Grassley, and that says, there's all these very, very, very conservative Republicans in the Senate. They don't want to give even $1, and they don't even want to go over 1.5. I got that issue still sitting out there. It is still an issue, but the president has said, quietly, apparently, has always said he'll go to 2. What's important to understand is that despite the introduction of the bill on Monday, which we are summarily rejecting, we're on message, we're on social media 3 days ahead of time, since Friday, saying reject that bill. She has to see that discussion. Her followers have to see that America's saying 2.4 is too high. And ultimately, if it gets her down to 2 and gets a deal, you've won. And I think that is a high probability of that happening. If you watch the video right before this, I went over her comments. I know we don't pay attention to what she says, but ultimately we have to play into our ability to push to the finish line. And the finish line might be 2, not 1.5. And ultimately, if it gets it done at 2, then we've got our way. We said, hey, 2.4 is going to reject. We're going to reject you at 2.4. We're not going to get to the finish line at 2.4, but we'll get to the finish line at 2. Why are all these numbers so important? Because since July, the president, his negotiating team, and the Republicans have all said, we're never going to 2.1 or 2.2 or 2.3 or 2.4 or 3.5. We're just not doing it. You can go all the way to 5 years from now. We're never going to go to those numbers. She, on the other hand, has never moved off of 2.4. She at one time went to 2.2 for a breath, but that was really not clear what happened then. But she has not gotten off that number. And ultimately, if she doesn't get off that number, then that's where she's going to be. We're going to be on message, which is 1.5. The Problem Solvers bill needs a hazard pay bill. It doesn't have a hazard pay provision in there. And I've always provided the guidance that it should be the Romney plan. The Romney plan is the one that you want, because ultimately it's the one that gives you money. We don't want a plan that doesn't give you money. Harris, the VP nominee from Joe Biden, has a really good point, which I certainly co-sign, which is, why have bills that don't give people money? You pass a law, and she even refers to it as a law. You write a bill and it becomes a law, but then you don't inherently get the money. It's sort of like a voluntary bill. Who wants voluntary bills? Well, that's the Temple of Doom's hazard pay bill. It's voluntary. It's basically, if the employer wants to go get it, they can. They don't have to. They don't feel in the mood. They don't have to. It's just, wait a second, I need my money. I need my money. What do you mean you don't want to go get my money? Romney plan fixes that. Romney plan requires the employer to get the money. Makes it a federal law for the employer to get the money. Whether you've been fired or hired or laid off or reduced or furloughed, the employer must get your money. Thank you, Mitt Romney. Goodness, thank you. Now, the amount of the hazard pay is a little bit less, but who cares? We actually get the money with Mitt's plan. Now, Mitt has not been a big vocal supporter of his own bill. He introduced it in May, and it's like it doesn't exist. So we've tried that. We have basically pushed behind his bill and said, hey, it has to be into the Problem Solvers bill. Now, that is federal hazard pay. And we will see come Monday what's going to sort of happen in this discussion. It has been a daily recording of this channel of hazard pay every day at 4 o'clock for upwards of 2 months. No one singularly has covered hazard pay as much as I have. I have recorded hazard pay every single day for all those months. It's the only thing I've recorded more is unemployment assistance, which I've done since April 25th every single day. The problem I have is the following, and we're not naive, we're not rose-colored glasses, we're not in a bubble. We're not NBA players. We don't hear them talking about hazard pay. We don't hear Mnuchin talking about hazard pay. We don't hear Temple Doom talking about hazard pay. So where is hazard pay with these people? And we certainly don't see in the Problem Solvers bill. So is hazard pay just sort of forgotten? We can't let them forget hazard pay. Now, that's federal hazard pay. State hazard pay and city hazard pay are totally different. As I've been detailing to you, across the board, there's $150 billion that was allocated to states to give to cities and counties within their state to provide for money for grants, food, rent, stimulus, and hazard pay. And they're just starting to spend the money. They have not spent the money. They're under a pressure now because it's use or lose. For example, in Honolulu, Hawaii, they have used only 10% of fortunes of money dedicated for the citizens. And among the things they're starting to use the money for is for hazard pay. So cities and counties across the country are suddenly dedicating hazard pay grants for their public sector and private sector. So go on Google News and Google grant plus city plus county and see what your city or county is doing. If you watch the rent video an hour from now, I will go over a new rent program that just went live within a matter of a few hours. And it's here locally in Southern California. Not a lot of fanfare. Again, it just went live. Let's turn to private hazard pay, which is a whole other subject matter. And this is where you are entitled to hazard pay because of the relationship between you and your employer. And generally, the people who are pushing the envelope are the unions. I've been detailing this for weeks, and I won't get off subject on this either. The unions have really done a great number. And it's generally the pharmacy unions or the grocery unions or the service industry like cleaning, maintenance, and security. Now, if you're not a union, don't worry, because you should be aligning yourself with unions. You don't have to be a union member, but you should call up your union representative in the area that does that type of industry that you're in and say, hey, I support you. Can I become part of this discussion because my employer is not giving me hazard pay? And they will help get you potentially to the finish line. At Stop and Shop, they had stopped their hazard pay. And so the union stepped in and said, you have to start our hazard pay, Mr. Stop and Shop. Oh, otherwise we're going to stop and other people won't shop. So start the stopping, stop the stopping and start the starting. It's so on Friday. It all started good at Stop and Shop. The United Food and Commercial Workers announced a deal which takes effect on behalf of 56,000 employees nationwide. Under the deal, the Stop and Shop brand will start again to pay hazard pay, which they had recently stopped. The new starting hazard pay at Stop and Shop will start retroactively. Yeah, that word. In the form of a lump sum payment to equal of 10% of all hours worked between July 5th and August 22nd. Lord, that's good moolah. That's really good job. United Food and Commercial Workers Union. Wow. The chain had given workers hazard pay during the first few months of the pandemic, then refused to offer second round, despite efforts by the union. Incredible. Let me answer some of your 742 questions from yesterday about hazard pay. Dominic Bartolomeo, who comments on a daily basis, it's clear the government doesn't care for any of the American people. They only care about themselves. How can you vote for anybody? It's very well said. I mean, there's a lot of things that are really very clear this time around. A lot of them don't care. A lot of them don't understand. A lot of them don't put you first. They put themselves first. And a lot of them don't realize or care to realize the situation. John White, Congress and whoever isn't passing stimulus should be out of office. Amen. Sheila, every single one of them should be considered a traitor to the country. Dajani, I hate these elitist monsters. They didn't mind to take my money every week while I worked. Oh no, I had 6 kids. They loved me. They taxed me to death. Well said. Garland Williams, what about the frontline workers that clean the buildings like offices, medical clinics? Amen. Tara Jones, they're going to do everything they can to let anyone beneath their pay level die. They only keep a few people for their slaves and the all is wealthy. Louise, people in Washington, D.C. is a really big joke. Paul Schiavio, yeah, they'll wait till November or worse, just like they waited till now. How do they go? Limo? How do they get around? Limo? They can afford it. Still, I've never gone down without a fight, and I'm not starting now. Keep fighting, everybody. Don't give up, give in, or get disheartened. Fight, speak loud. We the people will be heard. Amen. That is the spirit of the Purple Power. That is fighting to the very end. fighting to the very end. We do not give up. We push for what we're entitled to. You worked as an essential worker. You worked the front line. You risked your lives. You went to work every day and risked your life to not get COVID-19, and you're entitled to hazard pay. And the Republicans don't want to put it in any single one of their darn bills. Well, we're going to vote you out. And if the problem solvers don't revise it and put in their bill, we're going to deal with you accordingly. And if the Temple of Doom doesn't get us any of this hazard pay or just writes some voluntary crap that maybe we voluntarily get hazard pay, we're voting you out as well. Walter, we the people are in this together. Michelle Marshall, the only reason the economy didn't completely tank is because of the essential workers. Amen. Doctors, nurses, firefighters, police, pharmacists, keep working. We wear masks 8 or more hours. We have to constantly clean every area we think we might have touched. We need hazard pay. 2 exclamation points. The people that have lost their job over no fault of their own need stimulus. 2 exclamation points. The government needs to help these people. 1 exclamation point. Amen, Michelle Marshall. I love your comment. Evelyn Davis, amen. It's time to vote out these politicians, get better people. Phil Townsend, they can't pass stimulus. Why? What makes you think they're going to get hazard pay? That's not the spirit of this channel. You think everything is just not going to happen? Yeah, that's not the spirit of this channel. Gallup for me, off with their heads. Okay, that's also not the spirit of this channel. Jimmy Seltz, we're being told if I get voted in, I will do this. But what are you doing now? Yeah, he's saying, vote for me and I'll get you stuff. No, I voted for you and got me nothing. Francis Pauli, I live in West Virginia where the nurses protested. It's a shame they even had to protest. 3 exclamation points. Give the people the hazard point. 3 exclamation points. They deserve it. 3 exclamation points. We the people deserve stimulus. The black man, they want you people to protest and riot. They seem to be going to martial law, though everything could change. Interesting point. Riley, why did they throw Kathleen Marie? I believe Trump will do an executive order October 1st. Pelosi sends the bills to the Senate, and then she knows it won't pass. It will be done one way or the other, despite Pelosi. I like Kathleen Marie's point. Deborah Stover, I wish we all got Purple Power t-shirts and met in Washington with you, LALATE. Seriously, we need to go if we can afford to. I'm down. Seth Bowie, they make us wait till November. They might as well not be a country because they've been no holidays for the rest of the year. We're all going to be homeless, foodless. Leslie Alaya, we don't get paid. They should go without pay. Carlita Maris, people are fed up of getting nothing but talk. And talk is what you're going to get on Monday when the new stimulus bill is debuted by the Temple of Doom. If there was a time to subscribe to this channel, it's now. You see the comments. They're all the same. These are all people who have the same general opinion. They have the same general opinion and the same general focus and the same general plan. We're pushing together as a family. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a family where Republicans and Democrats, mothers and children, adults and young people, all view the situation the same way on this channel. So go to the front of the channel, subscribe. Today is a challenge. Today is to subscribe. Let's keep it going. Let's get bigger and bigger. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Share this video. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Also like this video so the video appears higher in the rankings. Coming up next is unemployment. If you have questions about unemployment, whether it's UI or PUA, please watch that video. I'm here to help, and I've been doing it since April 25th, every single day about UI. As always, stay informed, stay focused, stay smiling, and stay about life for more.